This is TWiT.
G PRO Wireless and G PRO Gaming Mice review. Christopher Koch did this for PC Per. So if you're not familiar with the eSports universe, there are professional gamers. Some of them make a lot of money. All of them will spank you quite handily at almost any video game you choose to play, much less the ones they are making their money at. And they introduced their new Hero 16K sensor. Yeah, these are mice.
Yeah, they're mice. What I still need to reconfirm with them is if this sensor is fast enough that they didn't even bother with the accelerometer thing anymore. I'm not sure.
Right.
It could very well still be in there, especially if it's an esports and a gaming specific thing. I'd figure maybe the accelerometer is just in there as a backup. But these are just, nicer, more refined, kind of top of the line versions of what you've seen before. And what's missing is there's no more numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Usually there's like G560 or G, whatever number, some 3-digit number after a G usually. But you get the wired and the wireless version. The wireless version has a blank puck on the bottom where you can use the wireless version with the wireless charging mat that Logitech put out, several months ago. And it's basically a little insert that you kind of unscrew and it pops out, and then the charging mat comes with a different puck that is like the inductive receiver. There it is right there in that picture. But that doesn't mean that's the only way to charge the wireless one. It actually does something that's the same as the prior, more recent Logitech wireless mice, and that is the wireless version actually comes with a cord. It's just a cord with a unique looking end on it. And that is, it's basically a micro USB connector that just has a couple of extra spades off to the side of it to kind of like make it more stable. And all that cord does is it plugs directly into the kind of nose of the mouse. And it kind of transforms the wireless model into a wired model. Like it really just looks just like a normal wired mouse. But then when you want to go wireless, there's this fob style, like a little kind of adapter that the wireless dongle that you would usually plug into your laptop plugs into one end of this kind of adapter, and then the other end of the adapter plugs into the end of that cable instead of the mouse. So when you want to go wireless, you basically just disconnect the wired connection, plug it into the wireless receiver, and then it's a seamless, usually people will just leave that thing kind of sitting on their desk, like near their mouse pad. And it comes in really handy. Like since those mice are super low latency in the wireless mode, I'm usually super sensitive to that sort of thing. I'm the kind of guy that back when the Dell switched from the Synaptics touchpad to like started with an A, Alps or whatever touchpad, and it like added a few milliseconds of latency, like that drove me nuts. So like I'm really sensitive to like input latency on devices. You can't tell at all if you're wired or wireless on mice like these. So that's an advantage because you're using it wirelessly most of the time, but then the Logitech software gives you a little pop-up on your desktop when your battery gets low, like 10% or whatnot, and it's seamless. You just unplug this dongle thing from the end of the cable, you plug the cable into the end of the mouse, you just keep going. It's as if you didn't even change anything, except now there's a wire there and you just use it as you would for like the next 30 minutes or so, and usually it's charged up fully, and then you just switch it back and you're back to wireless.
This is a good thing.
They made that bottom piece, that the cap that unscrews, you can see the contacts in the base for where the wireless charging puck would contact the mouse. But they've also added a compartment finally for the dongle so that you can have that with the mouse and you just throw it in your bag when you're traveling, which makes a lot more sense than the way it's been previously, which is, you always had to, I usually had to take the dongle and stick it on my laptop before I put my laptop in my bag. And then I'm always worried that thing's going to be like at the bottom or just hitting up against stuff and potentially messing up the USB port. So yes, I very much like that you could separate that, keep it with the mouse when you're traveling, and not have to deal with that.
So the Hero 16K sensor, max resolution 16,000 DPI, minimum resolution 100 DPI, maximum acceleration tested at 40 Gs, 400 inches per second. It's just an unhinged collection of specs on this. I was kind of amazed. You know, the wired G Pro with its 6.5-foot cable is $70 at LogitechG.com, and the G Pro Wireless is $149.99. So they look very nice. They really do. I was really fascinated with how much the Wireless Pro version looks like a Microsoft mouse from above. I'm just going to say that, which for me is a good thing. The farther,
just simple design, right? Like they've slowly been like evolving back to that shape. Like,
well,
you
it was
can
just
look,
sort of this
like
point where,
3 or 4 generations back, and they've slowly been morphing.
There was just this point where the mice were starting to look like Klingon battle tools, or the controls for a Klingon battle station, rather than something you would actually want to hold in your hand for several hours while gaming. So props to Logitech.
Like, not only that's significant that they're gaming mice and also look like normal mice, right? Again, without the Klingon shape to a mouse is one thing, but typically anytime it was gaming, it was always that shape. Right? Some crazy thing, which totally turned me off to them, regardless of how good the specs were. I was just like, no, it needs to be comfortable while I'm using the thing.